After the ethnic cleansing of Artsakh, there is a significant risk that Azerbaijan will attempt to completely erase any trace of Armenians in the region. Azerbaijani social media is already rife with videos depicting the destruction of Armenian heritage sites. Just last month, Azerbaijan demolished the National Assembly of Artsakh building. The Monument Watch platform, which monitors Artsakh's cultural heritage, had previously reported the demolition of the Charles Aznavour statue in Stepanakert. The statues of Alexander Myasnigyan, Ivan Isagovich, Ashot Ghulian, Lieutenant General Anatoly Zinevich, and Stepan Shahumyan have already been removed. Even before Artsakh's full occupation, a significant event during the 2020 war was the double bombing of the Holy Savior Ghazanchezod's Cathedral, followed by the alteration of its domes. After the capture of Shushi, Azerbaijani forces also demolished the Green Chapel. Numerous incidents of the desecration of Armenian graves and cemeteries have also been reported. Currently, construction work has begun near the St. Sarkis and St. Grigor churches in Artsakh Tsar village, according to the Research Center of Historical and Cultural Heritage. There is a significant risk that this project will result in the destruction or desecration of these churches. Recently, a video circulated showing the demolition of the memorial complex dedicated to the Artsakh war victims in Hadark village, as well as the desecration of the adjacent cemetery.
The destruction of monuments is not just physical damage. It strikes at the very essence of the ideas these monuments represent. When Azerbaijan seeks to demolish monuments from the era of independence, it rejects the notion of self-determination that led to Artsakh's independence. These actions are part of a broader policy aimed at erasing Armenian cultural identity from Artsakh.
According to Artsakh's Deputy Minister of Education, Science, Culture and Sports, Lernik Hovanesyan, Azerbaijan's current policy is not new. Rather, it has been in practice since the 1920s and 30s.
More than 5,000 monuments, which are integral to our historical and cultural heritage and vital to our identity, are now on the verge of destruction. This process has already begun in phases, with our modern structures of spiritual worship and monumental art being most at risk. Next, they will move on to the destruction of churches. Meanwhile, our entire epigraphic record is also on the brink of disappearing. Unfortunately, the necessary monitoring to prevent this is not being carried out.
What measures is the international community taking to address this issue? And what steps can be taken to prevent the destruction of Armenian heritage?
We cannot speak of specific sanctions or criminal proceedings, as UNESCO's support, which should be presented in the region, is yet to materialize. This delayed response is leading to further destruction. The indifference that existed before, however, is no longer there. Of course, this is not enough, but it is a positive step.
Currently, there is active, ongoing work at all levels within NGOs and academic circles. We are presenting our case on various international platforms. Work is being done, but it is not enough. There is no unified point of view due to differing opinions.
Researcher Simon Maghakian, who has extensively studied Armenian heritage destruction in Nakhichevan, suggests pilgrimages to sacred sites. He claims this approach has been successful in Western Armenia and has preserved sites there.
For example, Varagavang in the Van region was crumbling and it's still not in a great shape, but because of Armenian tourists, it has been slowly maintained, at least to the point where it was decades earlier, because of contacts with Armenian pilgrims. And I understand that, it's not a realistic solution at this time because Azerbaijan does not allow anyone of Armenian heritage, regardless of their citizenship, access to that country. But that should not stop Armenian stakeholders for pushing for access to those sites.
Maghakian believes heritage protection involves fears about historical significance. Governments like Azerbaijan use this to justify destroying sites, especially targeting Armenians due to their long history in the region. He warns that highlighting Armenian history can worsen the situation by making sites appear more threatening.
At this point in time, especially given the decades of propaganda and brainwashing that has happened in Azerbaijan, I don't think it is helpful to talk about sort of the history of monuments. I think for the time being, it's important to go back to this model of coexistence that existed in the region, regardless of how tough it was, and it didn't always work. And that was showing respect for monuments as those being sacred to the communities that they are associated with.
The gradual destruction of Armenian heritage could be repeated in the case of Artsakh as it was in Nakhichevan, especially when the physical connection with the owners of that heritage has been severed. While the return of Artsakh's Armenian population could safeguard this heritage, it is not currently a likely scenario, leaving the Armenian people to collectively seek alternative solutions.